Show, the Mo Nique Show.
Greetings and welcome to the Mo Nique Show Summer Series. Take the label off the table. I am your host, Mo Nique. We are bringing you the Summer Series where we will be talking to notable personalities as well as some new faces around all aspects of authentic living. Today, I am incredibly delighted to welcome comedian Mr. Rodney Perry to the show. Hello, Rodney.
Hey, Miss Monica, how are you?
I am fantastic. I'm so delighted that you could join me today. We met on the Tom Joyner cruise. I'm not sure if you remembered that, I
I
think.
do remember, and you are as stunning in person as you are today.
Well, thank you so much. And then I think it was a follow-up meeting at the Tom Joyner family reunion where
Okay.
I was selling my books. So I enjoyed your stand-up show on the Tom Joyner cruise, and you are funny on and off stage. So thank you for joining us.
Okay.
So I want to just, people might not know sort of what your background is and how you even came to be a comedian. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh man, how did Rodney Perry become a comedian? I mean, there's the short answer is I kind of have always been a comedian. Um, my mother and them would have get-togethers when I was a kid, and they would listen to Richard Pryor records and Mom's Mabley and Red Fox, and that was their fun. And my room was right off the living room, and I remember just laying on the floor and listening and laughing. And it was amazing to me how somebody could captivate that audience and not even be in the room. So it was always kind of interesting to me. And later on, when I saw Eddie Murphy on Saturday Night Live, that was kind of my aha moment. At very young, and I kind of began to pursue it even then. I had a teacher in second grade that would let me tell jokes at the end of the day if I was shut up throughout the course of the day. So
That's a
it
good
was,
reward.
I've always kind of had a sense of what comedy was, stand up was. So, it's been my mission for a long time.
To make people laugh.
Yeah.
So, do you find that is it difficult, sort of in romantic relationships, to be serious? Like, how does that play out?
Well, I'm a father and I'm a husband. I'm a daddy. So this is the thing. I don't even like comics that are always on. You
Okay.
know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
you've been around people that, hey, dude, guess what happened? You like, come on, dude. So, I'm from the school that says, I haven't developed some crazy alter ego like some comics do that, and they create this guy that's the stage guy, and then they're really this other guy. I am Rodney all the time, but Rodney is a lot of different things.
Sure.
Yes, I'm a comedian by profession, but if you're a young man and you come to see my daughter, guess what? It's not gonna be fun.
Right.
You
Playtime
know,
is over at that
Ain't no
point.
jokes, dog. So it can be tough in your relationship, because I do have fun more than most.
Sure.
I do what I love to do for a living. My life is fun, so that's kind of off-putting to people sometimes.
Yeah.
So I'm just very consistent. You know, uh, I can be silly, but I can be serious.
Sure. Well,
You
that
know.
leads right into this whole notion around authentic living and some of the pressures, particularly that people who are in the limelight feel to live into the expectations of other people. How does that or has that played out for you in any regard? Feeling that
Uh,
pressure?
I mean that's such a great question. I mean, I personally have almost never lived up to the expectations of other people. I mean, you got to think the very notion of being a professional entertainer is outside of the box.
Sure.
I mean, you got to think most of us are first generation entertainers. Most of us don't have an uncle that was a singer or a brother that was a comedian or a sister that was an actor. So, when I broke the news to my family that I was going to be a comic, man, they talked about me. you know, the closest people, you know, my mother was like, I don't know what you're gonna do.
Right.
How you gonna take care of them babies? And she living in my house right now, so she was wrong. So, you know, there is some ups and downs. You know, people expect certain things, and there are moments when you have to have a sense of when people want you to be the comic dude too. You gotta be able to turn that on too.
Sure.
So, it's being authentic isn't hard if you're authentic.
Now that is true. I think, for a lot of people, and I had this preconceived notion, and I'm sure it varies from person to person, that as a comedian, you could probably be your most authentic self. But then, I look at some of the, rising stars in the comedic arena, and I look at sort of how they're morphing. And I think part of that transformation has to do with what the public is expecting of them. So sometimes I think the bigger you get, maybe there's a departure from who it is that you used to be because there are new expectations.
That can be true. I think people by and large want the real you. Now, if what you're selling is not the real you, then you kind of it creates a interesting conundrum because if you're not selling you and people buy that thing you're selling, then you're always going to be forced to create rather than like I tell people all the time, I'm a comedian, but I'm not the best writer in the world. I'm a really good reporter. Like I'm great at seeing life and drawing light on life as I see it.
Sure.
So because of that, I don't have the same woes. But like you said, I ain't reached the mountaintop yet either. I don't know what it's like to make 20 million in a year. I don't know that yet. So and I've had some friends, a la Kevin Hart or Cat Williams that have achieved those milestones,
Sure.
and it can be hard. So
Yeah.
uh, I welcome the challenge.
Yeah, well, I appreciate your honesty around it. A lot of people will put on airs, right, to make things appear one way when they are not that way. Now, when you were on the Mo Nique Show, did you feel any additional pressure being there, or is that also a forum where you were sort of able to be completely you and people weren't trying to make you into anything else?
Well, this is the thing about the Monique Show. First of all, thank you to Monique for giving me the call to rock with her on television because we're in a business where people don't really share their light. So I always thank her for that opportunity. Um, but the show wasn't designed for Rodney Perry to be the standout guy.
Sure.
Just by virtue of if you look at any late night talk show, whether it's the Tonight Show or or Conan O'Brien or Jimmy Kimmel or those shows are designed for the main person to do interviews, and if that person sees fit to defer to somebody from time to time, they do. So just by nature of the type of show it wasn't a vehicle for me to stand out as an individual.
Sure.
And you're more of a part of a team, and I get the team concept. And I received a lot of, well, what your job? If that was me, I'd do this. And I'm like, no, you would. You would shut up and wait for somebody to talk to you. So
All right.
and the way I saw my role is to you may I realized this very early on. I said you may only get two opportunities per show. You got to hit a home run each time. Like you don't get to be mediocre when you're only getting up to bat like once a night.
Sure.
So you have to be stand out. You have to stand out. And Monique is the most generous person that I've ever been around. But as you're on your journey, you got to understand where you are at that moment.
Sure.
And a lot of people don't get that. If that was me, I would have did this. No, you wouldn't.
Yeah, that's a really good point, is sort of understanding where you are in the moment, because it allows you to sort of absorb everything that you're supposed to get in the moment versus being so focused on either the next man's journey or sort of elevating yourself 10 steps up when there's a growth process around it.
Can I tell you this story?
Yes, please.
I was in the Navy from 1990 to 1998. One of my guys I was stationed with when I was in New Orleans, he used to call me up on Saturday mornings. He said, "Rodney, hey man, come help me wash my car." And I'm like, "Man, what I look like helping you wash your daggone car, right?" He said, "No man, don't look at it like you're washing my car." He said, look at it like you're preparing to wash your own car." Now, as I look back, that might have been some BS, but it was a really interesting concept to me. So I look at my time with Bill Bellamy on Who's Got Jokes as me getting the opportunity to help him wash his car. I
Sure.
look at my time on the Mo Nique Show as me getting the opportunity to help her wash her car. And now that I have a show, my own show on Bounce TV, I understand how to wash my own car.
Absolutely. In the Christian faith, we call that sowing and reaping.
Sowing and reaping.
Right?
Yes.
So you sow seed into other people, right? And it reaps a harvest in your life. So I think that is fantastic. And I had a conversation with Marvin Dixon not too long ago, and we were talking about the team concept as well, and that particularly in the comedic world, there sort of hasn't been this team mindset around putting other people on and sort of rising to the top. So
It's not a team sport.
sure.
I tell comics all the time, comedy is it's not basketball, it's not football, it's not World Cup soccer.
Sure.
It's track and field.
Yeah.
Okay? From time to time you get to run a relay with your friends, but mostly you're solo.
Yeah.
And it's okay. I mean,
Right.
it's okay that it's that way, but I've had some great people help me, whether it was Steve Harvey or Sid the Entertainer or Monique or, Bill Bellamy. I mean, I've had some, George Lopez. I had some great comics to say, "Hey man, I'm going to help you."
Sure.
But comics want a lot of help. They want you to take them all the way to the finish line. And that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I got a brother. I can't take him to the finish line. He's got to get there part of the way on his own.
Sure, absolutely. So before we close out, tell us sort of where we can find you, what you're up to, where to look for you.
Well, my website is the catch-all. Go to my website, rodneyperry.com.
Okay.
Where can you find me? I'm touring right now. I have a show on Bounce TV called Off the Chain. So we're touring this summer with the Off the Chain live tour. I'm developing some shows, creating some shows, and I just did a movie with Columbus Short that'll be out real soon. So we're just working, man. And go to the website. That's my catch-all.
Okay.
I'm on Twitter, very active on my Twitter page, Rodney Perry, and see my world on Instagram, Rodney Perry Live.
Fantastic. Well, you should get a lot of hits on the movie with Columbus Short because he is certainly hot right now in the news.
He'll choke you.
Oh, Mr. Perry, I completely appreciate you taking this time again to be with us today. Thank you all for watching. You can find, again, Rodney Perry at rodneyperry.com. My name is Mo Nique Show. Thank you for joining the Mo Nique Show Summer Series. Take the label off the table. And until next time, dig in. Thank you so much.
Dig in!